Welcome to today's daily analysis. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of February 2017. I am feeling a lot better today. Still a bit sick, but feeling a lot better. So yeah, let's get started with the analysis. I think part of what makes me feel better today is the fact that that trade that I called in yesterday's analysis went really, really well. It was pretty awesome. Well, one of them failed, one of them went well, but the one that went well covered the one that failed many, many times over. Yeah, let's look at those two trades and then let's look at and see if there's anything else coming up right now. So yeah, let's start with GBPAUD. GBPAUD was one of the trades I was looking at yesterday, but unfortunately that one did not work out. That trade was risky, right? I entered that trade. Wait, where's the recording thing? Just make sure we're recording. Cool. Yeah, so I entered this GBPAUD trade before the news. I was expecting it to push down due to the news, but instead it pushed up. Well. I don't normally trade before interest rate announcements. It's not something I'd normally advise or something I normally do, but you know, I was pretty convinced it was going to go down. The price action was telling me that it was going to go down, but I was wrong. You know, it happens. Whenever I take a trade like this, I always do half my normal position size or less. So let's say, just because I'm going to give you a number that's easy, not because I trade this much of my account, but let's say I trade 1% of my account. On a trade like this, I would take that down to 0.5% or even less sometimes because it's being opened just before major news like interest rate announcements. So if I get slipped on the exit, I'm not going to lose a huge amount of my account. So yeah, this trade was stopped out, but it cost me very little. Had it done what I wanted it to do, the payoff would have been great. So it was a bit of a risky trade, but it was okay. Did anyone take this one? Did anyone short on GBPAUD? Oh, look at you, all you sensible people, except for Paul. Paul, you're not sensible. Why'd you take a short there? Very silly to trade before news. Disappointed in you, Paul. But most of you didn't trade. Oh, Andrew, you took the trade. How'd you do, Andrew? Oh wait, were you saying you could hear, or were you saying you took the trade? I don't know when you said that. Yes. Stopped out, right? Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I got stopped out too. It was a risky trade. I knew that going in, and I was prepared for that eventuality, and that's why I risked less. Okay, Paul, you looks like you risked less too, and hopefully you did too, Andrew. We did talk about that after yesterday's webinar. If you were in yesterday's webinar. So yeah, it was a risky trade. But GBPAUD, who took this trade? This was the better trade, obviously. I really hope a lot of you took this trade, because we talked about both these trades, and this one was Carlos, you took it. Nice. Why isn't this scrolling down automatically? Tong is typing. Did Tong take it? You were sleeping? Not a good reason. Seriously, only Carlos? Come on, guys. I couldn't have made this one more obvious. I called it in yesterday's analysis. This was like the best trade of the year so far. All right, Andrew, you took it. Nice. You took Euro GBP, fair enough. Ah, guys, come on. I called it in yesterday's analysis. I was expecting everyone here to have taken it. Oh well. That makes me pretty sad. But I do know a lot of people did take it because I got a lot of emails about this trade, and I know a lot of people watching on YouTube took it because, yeah, there was a lot of emails and a lot of messages to me on Skype and stuff like that. So it seems like most of you guys in the room today missed out, but hey, most people took it. Well, not most people, a lot of people took it that I know of. So that makes me happy, I guess. Tong Hong sleeping. How about doing a pending order? I mean, yeah, you could do a pending order if you want. God, the chat's not scrolling down automatically. This is annoying. Now I have to scroll down every time someone says something. Crappy, annoying bug. All right. All right. So yeah, let's quickly talk about this trade and see how it played out and why it played out that way. All right, so I entered this trade on this candle here after it broke down. I should have probably entered on a retrace, but I didn't. So I didn't get an optimal entry, but it was an okay entry. Stop loss was up here where you see it with the red thing. My original target, if I remember correctly, was 1 to 2 around here, but it moved down very, very, very fast. So, you know, I didn't really see any reason to get out too quickly. It dropped down, dropped down, dropped down. I did exit part of my position around about, I think it was about 2.4, so a bit higher than that. I exited part of my position there. Then I tightened my stop loss a little bit and I left the rest open, and I closed out at around 3.4, no, 3.5 actually. Yeah, I closed out here at 3.5. So yeah, this was a fantastic trade. It paid back the loss many times over, because with this trade, I traded my full position size because I wasn't really too worried about the news. So just on the first target, I recouped what, five times what I lost on the GBPAUD trade. And you'll find that happens a lot in Forex trading, where, you know, as long as you have a good risk to reward ratio, you will take a few losses, but your wins are worth a lot more than your losses. So they end up making you more money. So let's say you were to take a bunch of trades with a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. You know, for every 3 losses, you only need 1 win to cover those losses. Now, I mean, that's not realistic, taking every single trade with a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, but I try to keep my average risk to reward ratio pretty high. My minimum is 1 to 1.5, but I try to keep my average to about 1 to 2 or even better. So how do I do that? How do I keep my average to 1 to 2 or even better? It's by taking trades like this. So when I have a trade like this that ends up being a lot more profitable, it brings up the average. All right, yeah, that clarifies it a lot better. So what percent of your losing trades would you get stopped out versus those that, right. I see what you're asking. Well, I can't really answer it off the top of my head though. I don't really know. But I often don't close out too early. I tend to be a trader that holds, unless it starts to get very, very obvious to close out. I tend to be a trader that holds onto a trade. But anyway, let's get on with the analysis, guys, because we're just talking about other stuff in general right now, and technically this is supposed to be analysis. Yeah, you should let your trades run. I mean, not always. Like the AUDUSD one, which we'll look at now, that trade would have been profitable, right? Had you held it, but you would have had to hold this trade through like an insane amount of seller price action. So it pushed up, Then it went down. Like, you would have had to hold this for, this is an 8-hour chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's say by the time it actually started pushing back up, you're looking at 72 hours at a minimum. And this was split up by a weekend too. So if you want to count the weekend in, you've got a massive amount of time where you have to hold this trade. I probably wouldn't hold this long through something like that. But, you know, if it reverses for a few candles after it starts trending up in my direction, I'm not going to close out. I'm not going to freak out and close out early. I like to call those freak out moments, and I think a lot of newbie traders get freaked out and they close out just because price goes against them for 1 or 2 candles. But yeah, it's not really something that I do. All right, so let's continue with the analysis, guys. So AUDUSD, what's going on AUDUSD? Nothing much really. Nothing much at all. AUDJPY. What is going on with AUDJPY? It is in between 2 support resistance areas. It's trending up though, and it's trending up to a pretty interesting resistance area. Let's take a closer look at this on the daily. This looks like a pretty good resistance area actually. Right, and my drawing tools are gone. So we got price heading up to here. If we get indecision forming there, I would be looking for a short reversal. Why is this an interesting area? Because we've had 3 major bounces from this area very recently. 1, 2, 3. Now it's going for its 4th attempt. Will it break through on its 4th attempt? Well, we don't know. We can't know that. But if it doesn't, I might take a short trade there. So let's keep a close eye on AUDJPY. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. When I say keep a close eye, I don't mean there's any potential setup forming right now, by the way. I just mean that it's approaching a heavy resistance area. And if we start to see signs of sellers taking control of price, we could potentially enter a short trade. What were we up to? We did AUDUSD, AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand is in between 2 support resistance areas. Nothing much to see here, but it is trending up very, very quickly. So do keep a close eye on this resistance area here. The 105.75. AUDUSD. Ooh, look where that's at. That's sitting on a strong resistance area. Very strong resistance area. Okay. Whoa. Does that look good or what? This candle's been open for almost 6 hours and it is stalling heavily on this resistance area. Well, not heavily. That's a bit of an exaggeration. But it is stalling on this resistance area. Whoa. Look at that. That's nice. Yeah, it's stalling everywhere. Well, obviously if it's stalling on the 12-hour, it's stalling on lower time frames, but yeah. That looks nice. Right, so AUDUSD. This one would be against the trend, against the major trend. So any trade that's against the major trend is a little bit riskier, but that does not stop us from taking them because we are reversal traders. So we trade the death of trends, don't we? The trend is not necessarily our friend because we're always waiting for the trend to die. So the trend, I don't know. What is, if you're waiting for someone to die, they're not your friend, are they? They're your, I guess not your enemy, but hey, if this trend dies, it's good for us is what I'm trying to say. This looks good. Yeah. Let's keep a close eye on this one. 12-hour. But also the 8 hour is looking good. 8 hour closes in 6 hours 42 minutes, as does the 12 hour. So these candles are closing at the same time, so it doesn't really matter that much. But both of these look really, really good. Let's keep a very close eye on this one. This has some major potential. AUDUSD, AUDJPY, CAD-JPY. What's going on with CAD-JPY? That's a complete mess. It's just ranging on support area, whatever. Next. USD-JPY. Ranging on support. Next. Euro AUD. Remember Euro AUD? This was the one where we had messy support resistance. We weren't sure where to place it. But it's not really doing much. It looks like it might be stalling here. But support resistance, yeah. I guess there is support there, but now that support area is a bit too random for me. It's not a great strong support area. I'm not going to bother with this. The AUD USD trade looks so much better, and you know these are somewhat correlated. So I'd rather just go with the AUD USD one. I'm going to completely ignore Euro AUD. All right, Euro CAD. What is up with Euro CAD? In between two support resistance areas. Euro GBP. Right, okay. So Euro GBP is heading up to resistance. And it is stalling on several time frames. Eight hour and below, it looks like it's stalling. Okay. This doesn't look like a fantastic setup if it closes as is, but yeah, has some potential. Let's keep a close eye on Euro GBP. Euro JPY in between two support resistance areas. Yeah, next, whatever. Euro New Zealand, this is just doing some random stuff. I'm not really interested in that. Okay. Euro USD has continued its bullish trend. A continuation. GBPJPY is in between two support resistance areas. New Zealand CAD is just ranging on support. Big deal. New Zealand USD, it's back up to where it bounced from on Monday, or whatever day that was. Not really interested. I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, not interested. USD CAD, below support. No, nothing to see here. USD CHF. Yeah, it's just a continuation, but it's not something that I would trade, so nothing to see there. Gold has broken up. Cool. Keep a closer eye on gold. Euro CHF. I don't even know why I have that open. Oh yeah, we talked about that in yesterday's analysis, but it's not a pair I would trade really. All right, so for today, what do we have in order of how awesome they look? AUD USD looks most awesome, so let's keep a close eye on AUD USD. Euro GBP looks the second most awesome, so let's keep a close eye on Euro GBP. AUD JPY might not even be anything, but it is heading up to a strong resistance area, so it is worth keeping an eye on. That is all I have seen for today, really. Hopefully this AUD USD trade turns out like yesterday's GBP AUD trade and makes, well, those of us who enter a lot of money. But you know, it is kind of important to enter a trade if you want to actually make some profit. Hint, hint, guys. who didn't enter. Aziz, where should the stop loss be? On AUDUSD? You can't really set a stop loss if the indecision candle hasn't closed, but based on this current 8-hour indecision candle, only on the current one, but this could change dramatically by the time it closes because it's still got 6 hours until close. Might not even end up being a trade by that time. I would probably say something, and this is just visually. There's a bit of mess through there. Yeah, I would say something like this. This isn't actually proper risk reward ratio. This is just at a glance. That's what I'm seeing at a glance. Obviously, if I'm actually entering this trade, I need to look at things in a lot more detail. Well, not a lot more detail. It's only going to take me about a minute to place a stop loss and a target. But yeah, just at a glance, I would probably do something like this. So the entry would be around about the 76.75, let's call it. Stop loss would be around about the 77.04, let's call it. And the target will be around about the 76.10, roughly. But yeah, you know, this indecision candle is very likely going to change. We've still got a lot of, well, we haven't got much of the EU/London session left, but we've got a fair bit of the US session left, so we might get some moves. So yeah, I wouldn't imagine this candle will stay the same, essentially, is what I'm saying. But yeah, this looks really good. EURGBP, let's just see how that one plays out. AUDJPY, let's see how that one plays out. Any more questions? Is it not worrying it went higher last time? GBPUSD? Sorry, not GBPUSD. What am I talking about? AUDUSD. You mean that? I mean, if you worry about stuff like that, this happened 2 months ago, right? If I start worrying about everything that happened 2 months ago when price spiked up or down, blah, 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 especially, I think this was when was the Trump election? Was it 8th of November? Was that the Trump stuff there? Yeah. So that was Trump doing his thing, winning the election. So we got some craziness there. I mean, if you start worrying about spikes like that, you're almost never going to get into a trade because you always, if you go back far enough, it's always broken up a bit higher here and there. I'm not too concerned about that. Yeah. I think this is a good resistance area. I'm not too worried about the big Trump move. Tong, is there any way to put pending order on AUDUSD? No, not until the candle closes. You can't put a pending order before the candle closes. What if you put a pending order in here and then over the next few hours, it spikes down to there while this candle is still open, and then it just continues up because buyers retain control of price? Definitely not. You can't do that. No, what if the candle closes, if we start to see you know, some good signs on the 12-hour / 8-hour candles, then it would be a viable trade. But until then, we need to sit on our hands. if I were to trade this on the 12-hour, it would still be a viable trade based on the current 12-hour candle. So this trade is viable on both 8-hour and 12-hour, but the 8-hour will give you a better entry. But, you know, entering earlier is always riskier because it could be a false break. But yeah, we have potential on the 12-hour. If you want the safer option, the 12-hour looks good. Well, it's up to you, Tong, but what I usually do, if there's a trade I really want to take, instead of sending a pending order, what I'll do is, right, let's say my entry is here, right? Let's say I want to enter the trade around about here. Now, what I would do is I would set an alarm around about here. I would set a price alarm. The price alarm would send an email to my phone. My phone's set up so those emails make my phone ring. Even if other emails aren't making the phone ring, just those specific emails will. So yeah, when price hits here, it'll ring, it'll wake me up, and then I'll check the charts. Depends how I feel, depends if I want to do that, if I can be bothered. If I want to take the trade so bad that I'm willing to lose sleep because of it, I'll do that. If you're willing to take the trade so badly that if you want to take it so badly that you're willing to lose sleep, set a price alarm. I will probably quite happily lose sleep over this one if I hadn't made a killing yesterday on GBPAUD. But this GBPAUD trade is, I mean, I could take the rest of the month off. I'm not going to, but that was an awesome trade. That really did amazingly well. Much better than I expected. So it was an awesome trade. So am I going to wake up at like 4 a.m. in order to jump short on AUDUSD if it triggers at that time? Probably not. So it just depends on what you want to do and if you think it's worth your time. Any other questions, guys? We only got 15 minutes left if there's any questions. Less than 15 minutes. Oh, sorry for rubbing it in as is. Oh, damn it. I forgot to scroll down so people who are watching this recording wouldn't have seen these questions. Sorry for rubbing it in as is. I mean, it was just such an awesome trade. I think this is like, it's been the best trade of the year so far, and I think it's going to continue to hold that title for quite some time. It was just such a good trade. I really loved it. I mean, maybe I could take 6 months off from trading off of this one trade. It was just so good. Nah, I obviously can't take 6 months off, and I'm just kidding. But no, it was a good trade. But you know, if you missed it, you missed it. Whatever. I miss a lot of trades in Forex. Everyone misses trades. You know, it could end up, right? This, let's say, just in theory, this AUDUSD trade, right? I don't bother to wake up. It triggers at 4 a.m. And then when I wake up at like 8 or whatever time I'm going to wake up tomorrow, price is down here. And I haven't missed it because I was too lazy to open up the trade. Get out of bed to open up the trade. Or at least wake up and look at my phone to open up the trade. You know, that happened to me a lot of times last year. Also, stuff like price would come down to my 2 risk reward ratio, and it would come down really fast, and then it would just stall at my 2, and I'd be like, okay, well, sellers were in strong control of price, so let's hold it for a while. Then 7 candles later, it's still here. Maybe it even pushes back up and I'm like, oh God, okay, I'm going to close it out. Then as soon as I close it out, it goes bam. You know, that stuff happens. You miss moves a lot. You miss this kind of stuff a lot. Don't beat yourself up over it. It happens to me a lot too. And it could very well be that this GBPAUD trade is going to keep moving down. I mean, I closed out, but yeah, it could keep moving down. So I might have missed a bigger move, but whatever. Anyway, it doesn't look like there's any questions. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any more questions. So I guess I'm going to call an end to this analysis. Thank you for attending, guys. Keep a very close eye on AUDUSD. It looks awesome. EURGBP. Yeah, it's not looking as good, but it looks okay. Especially if this candle pulls back down a little bit, closes somewhat like that. And AUDJPY, just keep a close eye on this resistance area. So yeah, thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you on Tuesday's analysis, but I'll also see you guys in the forum because, yeah, I'll see you guys on the forum.